Good morning, folks. Welcome to our Q&A session. We're so glad that you could make it this morning. I know it's a weird time, so we're glad that you're here. We have a little PowerPoint presentation to share, and we've got several staff members that are here that will introduce themselves in just a moment. We're going to wait one more minute to see if anybody else shows up. Okay, I'm going to start introductions. I am Ashley Horde. I've probably communicated with you guys several times in the last few months since the coronavirus started, and I am the enrollment coordinator. I have two kids that have and are attending Creative City. My fifth grader just finished his course of study at Creative City and is moving on to sixth grade next year. And I have a child who will be in first grade next year. So that is me. And we're just gonna go down the list of the other staff members that are here. Ms. Canino, could you go next?
Sure. Hi, welcome. My name is Marisa Canino. I'm the executive director of the school operator. So I work really closely with Ashley and with our school principal, who I think you'll meet in a minute. My office is in the school, and I'm also a school parent. I was one of our founding parents. So I was with the founding group back in the time leading up to 2013, before our school opened its doors for the first time. And next year, my kids are going to be in fifth grade, third grade, and kindergarten. So I will have them at all levels in the school. And I'm excited to talk with you as a school administrator and also as a school parent. Ashley, who's next?
Apple, you can go next.
Hi, my name is Brian Apple. I am the kindergarten teacher at Creative City, and I'm also a parent. My daughter, who's sitting right next to me reading and kind of amazed by the meeting on the screen, is going to be in second grade next year. And I'm very glad to get the chance to talk to all of you.
Caroline, you can go next.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm a parent at the school and a volunteer, and my son graduated a year ago, and my daughter is going into second grade. And I'm really happy to be here. Welcome, everyone.
Mr. Peterson.
Hi, I'm Steve Peterson. I'm educational associate at Creative City, which is sort of like assistant principal. I don't have any children at Creative City yet. They're way too young, but soon.
Barry.
Hi, my name is Mr. Barry. I am part of the re-engagement support staff team, which is the REST team. I've been at Creative City for about 3 years, and we help build a relational approach to building school climate and addressing student behaviors. We foster exclusion and over-exclusion, and social engagement versus the whole punitive or control measures. So that's me.
Cece.
Hi, I'm Miss Cece, and I work along with the REST team. I'm part of the REST team as well. I am the restorative practices coordinator, and kind of a quick synopsis, I guess, similar to what Mr. Barry said. When there are conflicts, among our students, or just any sort of challenges, instead of a punitive approach, we look at helping our students understand where and if there was harm caused, and how they can take ownership of making sure that that harm is repaired. We work together to make sure that all approaches to behavior in a lot of ways are student led. So I work in the REST team to kind of make sure that all those little pieces come together. So you'll see me floating throughout the building. And I think I'm going to be working in the same room, hopefully, with the rest of the REST team this year. So I'm very excited. And this will be year 2 for me.
All right. Michelle, are you there? Ms. O'Connell? She's there, but not there.
Yes, I am here. You know, it takes me a few seconds to unmute. And
Oh, it's okay. You're fine.
Hi, my name is Michelle O'Connell. I am the school social worker at Creative City. I have actually been there since it started. I do not have any children there. Mine are too old and they are out of school. But I work a lot with IEP students as well as general education students, and my room is always open to any of the kids who want to stop by for any reason, even if it's just to say hi.
And last but not least, Ms. Mathena.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tracy Mathena. I'm the school principal. I have all of the children at the school. My child is actually 25 years old, and he works in Baltimore City too, but not as a teacher. He works with communities through the state's attorney's office. So we are doing all kinds of fabulous things, starting with our youngest ones at Creative City in our family, to making sure that communities have what they need in Baltimore. So I'm very pleased to have all these wonderful staff members here on this call to introduce themselves and kind of show you a little bit about what we're about, and hope that you are as excited as we are to have you join our family.
Great. We have like I said, a short PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to let Ms. Canino kind of go through the slides. They're not that many because we want to really give time for your questions, and but we had a few things we wanted to share with you today. So Ms. Canino, can you go ahead?
I sure can. Thank you for the introductions. I'm so glad that so many people could join us this morning. Most of you guests on this call have been to some form of an information session, or at least had a conversation with me or with Ashley. As a sort of reboot on that to get us all framed, Creative City is a progressive charter school that values small classes, hands-on learning, and arts education. Our school was founded by a group of parents, and we're now entering our 8th year with grades K through 5. And so I just wanted to kind of get us grounded in the things that are core to our school. Place-based education, which is using the built-in natural environment around us as a foundation for learning, is extremely important. Arts integration, not only valuing art class, music class, and also PE, which kind of loops into that team, but isn't traditionally arts, valuing those things individually, but also wrapping them into the core classroom as much as we can. Having a play-based kindergarten is extremely important to us, and fostering a diverse and cooperative community where all voices really carry weight and are heard within our community school model are really important to us. So I just wanted to offer that as a framework and sort of a regrounding in our principles, since we're not all in the physical space. Because we're not all in the physical space, I feel like our staff and visitors alike on this call might feel heartened to see some pictures of the children in the space. And so I just wanted to run you through a very brief virtual tour. This is Miss Lewis and Miss Griffin in one of our kindergarten classrooms earlier this year. These are some students on the left doing word sorts during their English language arts time in the classroom. On the right is one of many beautiful little nooks and crannies that our teachers set up for independent work or quiet reflection or taking a break if it's needed. more students in all kinds of work. We do value working collaboratively in small groups. We are thinking hard about how to adapt that and what it might look like when we return to school, and we'll talk about that as we get onto the question and answer part of this. But mainly I wanted guests on this call to feel connected to the physical space of our school, which is so important to us because we work really, really hard to make it welcoming, to make it child-centered, to make it really comfortable, and a space that is workable for all styles of learning. And so as we round through this, you'll see our older students, we have different types of furniture, but they're still all working together, and the teacher is really engaged with small groups. I'm sorry, I thought I had one more. That ended abruptly. I thought I had one more picture. I apologize. There's a couple of frequently asked questions that we just wanted to get out there to start. The first of being, how is registration going to work? Because many of us are very accustomed to physically walking into the school office and taking care of business in person and on paper. In brief, registration for kindergarten and grades above kindergarten, if you're coming from out of the district, will open with an online process in July. We are very close to July, I recognize that, but you haven't missed the boat yet. You are not late for registration if you haven't begun, because that online process hasn't been opened by the district yet for any grades except for pre-K, and we don't have pre-K at Creative City. Students transferring from another Baltimore City public school into Creative City should pretty seamlessly roll over, so to speak, from their prior school and need minimal registration paperwork, if any at all. And so I've been just casually talking to folks, I think, who are feeling a lot of anxiety about not being able to begin registration yet. So I wanted to get this out front and center. You are not late. The process is being adapted to be contactless and online. And Ashley, I don't know if you have anything else to add, since this slide is pretty minimal.
Yes, I think I've been emailing people and saying I'm trying to figure out how to do the out of zone people. So if you're transferring in from another county or you're transferring from a private school, I've been trying to get answers from the school districts. I actually got an answer yesterday, and it's reflected in the slide. They will be doing online registration as well, probably starting at the same time as the kindergarten registration, July 1st, but they still have to work out some bugs with the process. But it seems like if you're transferring in from a private school or from a school from out of zone, you will be able to register online in July as well. And there will be more details to follow as soon as I have all of that.
So basically the bottom line is we will keep in touch with you, and you may be hearing from us quite frequently if things are changing quickly, but the main thing is we want to make sure you know how to reach us and we stay in touch with you, and you can always ask questions if you have them. Moving on, unsurprisingly, people are asking about summer and people are asking about fall. So I want to bite off summer first. Ashley has been in touch with our prospective families who have been offered space, and we've been in touch with all of our returning families. We are able, due to an MSDE summer program grant, to offer a virtual summer program for 70 students in grades K through 5. We have planned it to be 100% virtual. I know that there's sort of changing guidance that is trickling out at a state level from the governor's office, et cetera, about small groups and about childcare. We felt most comfortable planning for 100% virtual, so we knew we could make children's needs despite what the guidance may evolve into. In this summer program, we're going to be focusing on building and maintaining literacy skills, keeping students engaged in math. We have a great nature partnership with Irvine Nature Center. We're working on some other enrichment programs that are in finalization of their development. So some of you on this call may have already applied to place your child in our summer program. And so we are looking through all of those literally, like yesterday, today, tomorrow. We're going to be in touch with any family who applied to place their child in our summer program by Wednesday. We've reached a point where we're automatically putting any future interest inquiries on a waiting list, and right now figuring out how much space we have for those who have currently applied. So if any of the guests on this call have put their child's name in for possible enrollment in our summer program, we'll know by Wednesday, and we will be keeping a waiting list if our demand exceeds the space that we have available. So we're excited that that's happening, and we're excited that we saw, I think, at least 20 new students to our school who expressed interest in enrolling in that program. So that is really great. The hottest question on all of our minds is, what is fall going to look like? That is a space where I want to be 100% transparent that we do not have all of the answers, and it might be a little bit of an unfulfilling conversation at this moment, because there's a lot of answers we just don't have, because we don't at the school level control a lot of the decision making. I'm going to give a quick overview, and of course I would like for Ms. Mathena to chime in if she has anything to add or would like to offer more depth. The short story is, we, like all other schools, are awaiting district guidance. We've been told by the school district that we expect that in mid to late July, although they might start releasing some sort of tentative information sooner than that. So at this point, the place we need to be in is we're planning for all possible outcomes. We are imagining what it looks like to continue 100% in a distance learning environment. We are imagining, there's a typo. We are imagining what it would look like to have a blend, not a blench, a blend of virtual and in-person learning. We are imagining what it would look like to have an in-person return. The district has unofficially indicated that they seem to be leaning more towards the blend of virtual and in-person learning, but I want to be really, really clear that we cannot say with any certainty that that is the outcome. So it's our job as the school staff and administration to really be beginning planning down all paths to make sure that we're ready for whichever one it is that the district says is the direction we're heading in as a full district. Meanwhile, the thing that we have access to is CDC guidance, and watching what they're saying, letting that guide our thinking as we're imagining these paths and developing possible plans using the CDC guidance as our basis at all times. And so just for a quick refresher, I bet you all of you are watching it as closely as I am. The CDC guidance for childcare facilities and schools, in short, this is like a super summary, advocates increased cleaning, which we're planning for with our custodial team, increased signage, directional signage, health precautionary signage, which is something that is fully in our control. Limit sharing of supplies among students. And so we're thinking about how to make sure we free resources to have enough of whatever the item is at that grade level to for each student to perhaps have their own instead of sharing. Creating and maintaining small groups, cohorts that remain together rather than all the students in the school mixing up. Of course, face coverings, of course, 6-foot distancing, and then looking at traffic, such as like one-way or markers for distancing in the hallways. There's a whole public link that I've placed here, and I can share with anyone who would like to read it about the CDC guidance. And I think that that's just a great way for all of us as parents, if we're parents of children who are going to be returning to school one way or another, to also get our heads around it. I cannot say strongly enough, the specific ways that we implement this, the specific ways that we devise scheduling, procedures will heavily depend on the district guidance that hasn't come yet. And so that is the piece we're waiting for, and that we will be quickly responding to as soon as it arrives. And before I hand over for Ms. Mathena to add anything else she'd like to add, I do want to make sure you know that there's an opportunity for your voice in designing what this looks like. Some of you may have seen this infographic, this closing the distance. They've been putting it on social media. The school district is designing feedback opportunities for families. There is a link. They're releasing more and more information on that as they develop it on this reopening link that I've placed and that we can send to you. And we want to make sure that all of you, as you desire, have a chance to get your voice in this process as well, because I think it's really important that the district hears from as many families as possible. Ms. Mathena, do you have anything to add about your thoughts on what school might look like in the fall?
The only thing that I think that I would add is that the staff is preparing as best it can to meet the needs of students in whichever venues that we are going to be providing instruction. We've spent some days looking at our own data, taking a look at the students that we were serving during the distance learning programming that we've done this spring, trying to find ways that we are going to be able to strengthen our ability to do the programming of recovery, because we know that students have lost a lot of time in school, which is going to affect the ways that they're going to be able to interact with instruction when they return in the fall. That's whether it's the students that were with us this year or those that are coming in. We all had that same set of circumstances that will impact the way that our children are going to be able to interact with education. So do know that despite the fact that it looks like we don't have a whole lot of information to share, do know that we are doing the legwork and we're doing the groundwork to make sure that we can be successful in whatever way we are asked to implement instruction.
Great. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, we would love to take your questions. So if you have a question that you have for us, you can just type it in the chat and we will address your questions. So, and try to answer them as best we can.
I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so that we can see the speaker's face when they're responding.
And you can ask any question, like it could be about grades, it could be, we have some parents of kids here, so it could be about parents, be about curriculum, like it's really open-ended. It doesn't have to be about the slides that you just saw. So
the first question I see is, will this be sent in an email? And we're absolutely going to send this information out to families. There's going to be a recording of this session that's available for those who couldn't make it. And we can definitely send a digest version of the information that was on the slide so you have it in writing. And I want to echo what Ashley said. We knew that those summer, fall, those were the top questions on people's minds. We wanted to just get it out there for you. But we want to hear any questions you have, even if they seem like kind of regular school year questions, they're still really valid, and we want to make sure we get you answers.
First question that I see, or the next question I see is, are uniforms required? And no, uniforms, we are not a uniform school. We actually suggest that kids wear clothes that you don't mind getting dirty. Because the kids do spend time outside. So we are not a uniform school. Somebody else asks if we have a special ed team and program with IEPs that are serviced, and the answer to that is yes. I don't know if anybody else wants to elaborate further on that one.
Steve, you want to take that one?
Sure. At present, we have about I think between 50 and 55 students with IEPs of various levels of intensity. We have one classroom that in the past might have been called a self-contained classroom. It's a 3rd through 5th grade classroom of students, all of whom have IEPs. There is significant support from staff. I think one student has an aide at present. It might change next year. One student has an aide, one student has a nurse that goes with him. The remainder, and that's about 4 students at present. The remainder of the students are serviced either in their classrooms using push-in services and then outside of the classroom in small group environments. And then we of course have related services, social work, counseling, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. Almost forgot that one.
I also wanted to jump in and say that while we are not a uniform school, we do respect and understand that there might be parents who kind of like that whole idea of having something that, you know, they can count on that the child can wear. So we have Creative City gear, and we have t-shirts, and we have all kinds of things that if that is what you would like, we can get that for you. And again, we still want to caution you, the kids do get dirty. They are outside. We want to make sure we have an outdoor classroom. It is very important that our children interact with their natural environments. And even inside, I got to tell you, sometimes we do experiments and things where they might get dirty, or there's always paint, and trust me, there are things. So we will gear you up if you need it, and don't worry, but we are not a uniform school such as it would be in lots of other schools.
Someone else asks about transportation, if transportation to and from school is provided. It is not provided. There are a few exceptions to that. If a child is experiencing homelessness where they're living with family and they need transportation to and from, there is a possibility of that. Also, if transportation is written into their IEP that they need it because of whatever thing that they are dealing with, that is another exception. But otherwise, you are in charge of getting your child to and from school.
And if I could just hop in real briefly, Ms. Ward, too, there's also, for medical reasons, one can get transportation, and also if a student is an English language learner. And then if a student is homeless or finds him or herself in a homeless condition, they can get transportation if the house is more than a mile from school. For all the other situations, it would be at any distance from Creative City or really any Baltimore City public school.
And I know one of the medical things is asthma, and I know that there are many kids that have asthma when they're children, and you outgrow it later. So do check and see if one of the medical things might be covered.
I also want to jump in as someone who works on the committee that is a mixture of teachers and parents. One of the things that we try to do to help with transportation is set up families who live in close proximity to each other to carpool. And then there's even one family who walks with several, like the mother walks with a few kids from closer, they don't need to drive. And that's something that I think is special and unique to the way we try to do things. We're really trying to always foster connections, whether it's through carpools with families or whether it's bringing families in to work together in the school or whatever. It's something that we offer that looks at the transportation element, but then also looks at just another way to build community amongst our families.
And then is Creative City, are the shirts free or is there a cost associated for the shirts? The shirts, there's, depending on what you get, there's a nominal fee. I know that the regular t-shirts are $5 a piece. I don't know about the polos, but there's a nominal fee for the shirts, yes.
We also have sweatpants, long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, and again, that's we will. It's not like a fundraiser. You pay for what we pay for, so you can if there's something, it's pretty reasonable. I don't think that except for like maybe sweatpants, or I can't remember that anything is really outside of the realm of $10 or more. Sweat shirts like hoodies, I think tend to be a little bit more, but the t-shirts are $5 generally for children. We also have them in adult sizes. So just in case you would like to kind of show off your school, we can definitely get those as well.
There's a question about after school programming. I can give a quick rundown. We have Girl Scouts that meets several times a week. We have karate with actually Mr. Berry that's here today. We have after school paid programming through a company called UEC, and they run after school programming until 6 p.m. every night. And even on our half day Wednesday, they start at the half day and go until 6 p.m. And there's before care with UEC as well that's in our building that starts at 7 in the morning. So that's kind of the paid program that we have is UEC. Girl Scouts is free. Karate is, there's a nominal fee. There's also a literacy-based program called Branching Out that is by invitation only. So if a teacher feels like a child needs some outside help in literacy or maybe in math, they would be recommended for the after-school program called Branching Out. We also have some fun clubs. We have robotics that meets after school. We have some other things that I'm losing my mind about. But if anybody else wants to speak to the after school programming, that would be great.
I think one way to describe our after school programming is that we have a combination of intervention type programs and interest-based programs, and we're expanding it. For example, we had an art club this year that we hadn't had previously. We have Girl Scouts and robotics, which was mentioned. We have the percussion ensemble by our music teacher, who they actually are a performance group that go around and they perform in different places. We have had in the past, of course, they mentioned karate already, but in the past, we've also had other vendors come and work with our students. So we are continuing to expand our programming and look forward to doing more of that. So the paid programming that was talked about, UEC, is more like an after and before care. And so they have their own special programming that comes with that after and before care. So that's kind of a third party. But the things that we do as a school, we are expanding on. So we look forward to even having more offerings in the upcoming school year.
And I'd just like to add, and we have a summary sheet of what our after school has looked like that we can send, by email to folks if that would be helpful, because this has been a lot, because we offer a lot, which I'm excited about. I'd like to add that several of our after school programs have gotten really creative during this time when our school building was closed. Not all of them were able to continue operating, but Girl Scouts, robotics has been doing Zoom calls and really cool interactive things online that they could share. Karate magically has been continuing almost uninterrupted from children's homes over Zoom or other interactive platforms. Our art club, the teacher that leads our art club, has been really creative about working to continue that. So something I've been proud of is we didn't leave behind the after school, which sometimes is something that's really meaningful for students. We brought as much of it as we could into this virtual space. Which I just really appreciated as a parent. I think it showed the commitment that those providers had to continuing to meet the social and emotional and enrichment needs of our students.
I feel like I need to also just kind of add in, because I completely forgot about this, is that although we have after school offerings, we also offer something called Potpourri on Wednesdays. These are student-based interests clubs and organizations that were that included the STEP Club, anime, including chess. It had Make Space for Kids, which is like an entrepreneurial group. It had builders and all of these different types of interest-based, some sports clubs, interest-based things that the children selected and the teachers led. And some of those, there was an Around the World club that actually continued during the distance learning time. Miss O'Connell was involved with that. And again, we are always, creative isn't our name. So we look for different ways to try to make sure that we meet those types of needs even during our school day. So that's just something to put out there as well.
People wanted to know what colors the Creative City gear can come in. I mean, white is a color that gets dirty. I'm with them. I understand.
Yeah, I get that. And white is the only reason why I wore that is because it's actually matching the shorts that I have on right now. However, I also have a green polo. Oh, I see is that Mr. Barry is showing the green t-shirt option. But the polo is a little darker green and has the white. There's also different colors that we could get, but our school colors are green and white, so you'll tend to see a lot of that. We also have, all of this can be in black. So with usually the white emblem. So There are different colors that can be that you can get. I would tend to say that watch out for the black in the hotter months, because we are outside and we'll get crispy and it'll be all bad and get hot and sweaty. But you don't have to get white. There are plenty of colors. And it sounds like Ms. Canino and Ms. Horde, I'm going to have to send out the gear sheet as well. So I don't mind doing that. Okay, so I'll get your questions answered for you.
And I put the UEC link in the chat for anybody that wanted to check that out, the price point and stuff. I'm sure that they are also trying to figure out what the fall will look like. So be patient with their response time. And I don't see any other questions. If anybody has one, please share it now so that we don't miss you. And I will send this presentation out to families once we're done, so that if there's something that you want to review or look at again, you can. If you want to see our pretty faces again.
Ashley, the only slide I didn't share was the one that had our contact information on it. Should I go ahead and share that?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, 1 second.
And while that's coming up, I think it's a good opportunity to tell you that if you have friends that have children that would like to, check out our school, we are still accepting applications. So please share that information as well. We would love to meet lots of people from our community, and we are looking forward to meeting you as well.
So hopefully you're all seeing my screen, I hope. And contact information for Ashley, for Ms. Mathena, and myself are up here. Our main phone, email is great for any of us. Our main phone number is monitored multiple times a day. You're not usually going to get a live person, but leave a message and the recipient will get the message. And so that's a great way to reach out, and we will direct it to wherever it needs to go. So if the questions were not on the tip of your tongue now, but you tuned in just to listen and something comes up in a day or a week, please reach out. We really, really, really want to prioritize staying connected with you, because this is a very strange time and we don't want to lose the chance to make sure that you feel really personally welcomed into our school community. If this were normal times, we'd be having you over and we'd be having play dates and we'd be having cookouts, and we'll get to hopefully that space again. But right now we want to try to claim a virtual space where we can do our best to make you feel as welcome and as heard as you would have been during other times. So Ashley, I'm going to turn it over to you if there's any parting words, but otherwise I hope people will take down our contact information and reach out if they need anything at all.
Someone did just enter the meeting, and I just wanted to give them like maybe a 10-second window to type anything in the chat that they had a question for, because sometimes you come in late and you're like, I wanted to ask. And while we're waiting to see if that person has anything to ask, I also wanted to introduce Ms. Bradford. Ms. Bradford, could you say hey to everybody?
Hi. Hi, I'm the Arts Integration Specialist and Art Teacher at Creative City. And just to say on behalf of the Arts and Athletics team that we're already planning to be able to do all of the things that we normally do in the schoolhouse to the greatest degree that we can if we end up being online at the beginning of the school year. So this summer, we had a great team of parents and staff who drove around to every single kid's house to drop off some supplies so that kids could still participate in visual art and music and physical education while we were doing our online classes. So we're really trying to think outside the box, and as everybody said, creative's in our name, so we're going to keep working on keeping our kids creative.
We have another question. This is why I'm glad I left the 10 seconds. What time does the school day start? And how do we get our children registered? School day starts at 8:15, I believe. Doors open at 8 o'clock and it goes until 2:45. and the doors close at 3. Come get your child by 3. And on the half-day Wednesday, it's actually early dismissal. It's not quite a half day. The children get out at 12:45 on that day. Doors still open at 8. School starts at 8:15. And the registration, I will send a link out to the Baltimore City website. It'll be online if your child is kindergarten, coming into kindergarten, or is coming from a private school, or is transferring from an out-of-county school. We will be opening, the school district will be opening registration July 1st, and I will send a link when all of that is ready. And it will be all online, so if you can have documents of, all the documents, if you can have them in a digital file, either a picture or a PDF, that way you can just upload the medical forms and immunizations and all of that, birth certificate, proof of address. And if you need any help with any of that, please don't hesitate to contact me for those things. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate you and hope that you have a wonderful summer. And we will definitely touch base with you all again throughout the summer. So please be checking your email. If you haven't heard from me for a while, maybe check your spam folder. I definitely heard from a parent that she hadn't gotten any of the emails that I had sent this year since March. So check your spam folder. But yeah, check. And we also are going to be doing maybe some snail mail stuff. So look at your mailboxes too, which will be exciting for your children. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
I can't see people.
Hold on. There we go.
All right. You know, I'd like to see the people. All right.
Thanks, everyone, for your help. Thanks for coming. Bye.